St. John's transfer Simeon Wilcher has committed to Texas. He's going to play for new Texas coach Sean Miller. Dion spent the last 2 years playing for St. John's, playing for Cupertino. Was a highly regarded recruit coming out of high school, top 35 in the country, the 247 Sports Composite, but was underwhelming in his 2 years at St. John's. This past season was supposed to be the breakout year for him. That did not come to fruition. He did start about 25 games or so, but only averaged 8 points, less than 2 boards, shot less than 30% from three. Showed some good things defensively. But there was a reason he's in the portal. Texas is hoping they can capitalize and get back to some of the pedigree that had him billed as a breakout candidate, was highly regarded in high school. First off, what do you make of this addition in Wilcher's game?
Um, I think there's a lot to be desired with Wilcher. 29% three-point shooter. Um, we've only seen flashes of him. He's only started, I guess he started a lot last year, 25 games. Excuse me, but we've only seen real flashes of him. We haven't seen him really have his own like lead guard role, I guess you could say. Um, but most importantly, though, we're talking about a team that lost RJ Lewis, lost Kadari Richmond, lost Davon Smith too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, had Wilcher, who they could have elevated. They could have done what Florida was intending to do with Aberdeen before Kentucky dropped the bag and build the whole roster around him. And Slick Rick was like, I'm just gonna go get seven transfer guards instead. Anyone that enters the portal, I prefer to have. That's a red flag for me. I'm just gonna be honest. If I'm another Power Five school, I'm like, yeah, something wrong with you. Because Osiah Sellers, Ian Jackson, Saynon, the list goes on and on. If you were a guard, Slick was it. Like Slick was offering a bag. He was trying to get interest. He was trying to bring you in. And Wilter, he said, "Hey man, I got my own bags coming with me, and they're Louis. You gonna want to go somewhere." He pulled the prime on him. So
Yeah.
I want to know why that happened. If I'm a Power Five school, but I do think there's for he started 25 games at St. John's. They won the Big East. There's something there. I just think it hasn't been brought out of him yet. And
Mhm.
it's if you're a coach that feels like you can bring it out of him, it's a worthwhile chance.
The Texas fit is interesting to me because Jordan Pope and Tremont Mark are back, both of whom started for you last year. Well, started for Rodney Terry last year. So you bring back both starters in the backcourt. So you're basically looking at him, Cam Heidi, and Chendall Weaver as the three guys competing for a spot in the starting lineup because Dalen Swain's going to start at the four. I don't know if you pencil Wilcher in there. I think you could with them going if they wanted to go small because of the defense that Wilcher brings, but he's not spacing the court with his shooting. So to me, you're going from one spot to the other to be, let's say, more than likely a sixth man or seventh man for Texas. And I know there's a bag that comes with that because Texas has more money than God, but I don't know if I like the whole transferring somewhere else for the same role, particularly when that last school basically transferred over you and told you you weren't having that role anymore.
We interrupt this sleepers video to tell you about an offer from Underdog Fantasy. Cart, you love Underdog Fantasy, correct?
Of course I do. Can I have a moment real quick?
Please. Thank you for that. In fact, I'm going to cut you off because our listeners like when we keep these short and sweet. Underdog Fantasy. Sign up as a new user. Use promo code SLEEPERS. Get bonus funds up to $1,000, 50% of your deposit match. The NBA playoffs are rocking right now. I played Underdog last week with a Cade Cunningham line. I'm looking forward to doing it throughout the entire first round of the NBA playoffs, but there's more. You can place picks on golf. You can place picks on baseball. You can place picks on the NHL playoffs that are rocking right now. Join Underdog Fantasy, promo code SLEEPERS. Support this show so that we can keep bringing videos to you. Back to the video.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I also, but I mean, to your point, like he had to transfer somewhere else for the same role.
Right. That's what I'm saying. But like, I don't think it's a good sign that the
Mm.
school took transfers over you at the same for the same role that you were already going to fill.
Got you, got you. I misunderstood. Yeah, no, I agree. Like, I mean, that there's something wrong with him. Like, that's why Slick was like, I'm gonna get everybody else. Like, there's something about his game because we know Slick don't care about shooting that much. So it's not like he sat there. It's not like he sat there and looked at the 29% and thought that was a red flag. So there's something else. Like, and 29%, by the way, to the rest of us is a red flag. So if you have a red flag that Slick doesn't care about, and there's another red flag there, that means there's a big red flag there that we don't know about. I'll be a little concerned about that if I was Texas. But at the same time, you're getting a guy, anyone that plays in a Patino system, high energy, gonna play defense, gonna do the little things, very gritty individual. Texas needs dudes like that. I think since Redacted was coaching that team, they've lacked some of that. They've had plenty of star power, both football and basketball. There's one thing about Texas you can't say is that they don't have recruits coming in. Any sport with Texas, they have the high level talent. Um, Trey Johnson had one of the best freshman seasons I think we've seen in the last 10 years. It just didn't matter. There wasn't anyone around him to do the little things.
Mhm.
For the first time, they're bringing a guy in that can do the little things. What he doesn't do outside of that, though, I think is going to be a glaring issue.
I think so as well. The potential of like a Wilcher, Weaver, Mark backcourt defensively, you're basically shutting the water off on whoever you face. And I do think that Sean Miller is going to tap into that a good bit. But I don't know, like, you're not going to put him in for scoring. I don't know his role gets bigger. And I think that's okay. I think there is some hope that Sean Miller, who, one of the more established coaches in the country, has a pedigree of developing solid physical guards. I think there's some hope. Maybe you get some of the high school pedigree out of him, but at the very least, you're going to get a solid bench guy who does defensive work for you. That's a solid value add, I think.
Which is something they haven't had in a long time.
Well, I think the interesting part, because I think Chendall Weaver is that guy who made Rodney Terry essentially play him because he was the only one who did the little things. And so now you have two of those guys as your two bench guards, which I think gives you some versatility with Pope and Mark, who are more offensive minded. I don't know who's going to be making the plays and doing the creation. Maybe there's a role for Wilcher, but he didn't show he could do a ton of that at St. John's too. So I'm interested to see how this backcourt plays out, how the rotation ends up playing out, and what Sean Miller wants to do.
Sean Miller, Wilcher and Sean Miller have a lot of similarities to me. These are two guys I would want to know why they were available. Sean, we've tried the Sean Miller thing before. It doesn't work. We're just going to try it again and hope for the best. Wilcher, not quite the same, but we've seen it. We've seen it. Slick is telling us, hey, this didn't work. We're just going to try and see what happens, though. A lot of similarities between the two.
Texas basketball. Try it and see what works.